Hey guys, it's Kyle down here at Lunicycle. Today I'm going to show you some tricks on how to install a new chain on your Talaria MX3, MX4. You do need to get the chain past the gearbox, which can be a little bit tricky. So I'm going to show you some tricks to safely install the new chain. Now, the first thing you want to do when installing a new chain, you want to locate your master link, and then you want to loosen the rear wheel. I'm going to go ahead and just take this axle nut off right here, and that'll put some slack in the chain and make it easier to remove this old chain. Now we got brand new chains for sale. We'll put a link in the description. We're selling them for only $25, and that's an OEM replacement O-ring chain, one of these gold ones. So that's a killer deal. And then an even better deal is if you buy one of our sprockets, we'll sell you a complete chain to the proper length of that sprocket for only $18. So if you're swapping your sprockets or you're just changing out your chain, these are some nice little tips to install it. So in order to remove your old chain, you need to remove the master link, and in order to do that, you need some little needle nose pliers, and you want to remove this little clip, and it can be a little tricky, but you will be able to get that clip off with a few tries. Then you do have a plate, and in all these O-ring chains you're going to have 4 O-rings, so there'll be 2 O-rings on this side and 2 O-rings on the other side. Now, try not to lose these. These can be reused if you lose your new ones. Now here's my trick for installing a fresh chain, and you won't need to fight the gearbox at all. So go ahead and take your brand new chain and just attach it to this old master link, and then you'll just rotate the rear wheel, and this will feed it properly through the gearbox. If your chain is broken or your chain's already removed, I'll show you how to fish it past the gearbox in 1 second here. But this is by far the easiest. Go ahead and just carefully guide this new chain while you're spinning the rear wheel backwards. And you'll notice all of a sudden your chain is completely installed without having to mess with anything up here. But today I'm going to show you what to do if your chain has completely come off. Now, this bike here is low miles. It doesn't actually need a new chain, so I am just going to reinstall this old chain. So let me show you how to fish a new chain past the gearbox. So here, let's go ahead and set this chain aside. Now, if you look up in here, you will see that in between the motor and the sprocket, you really don't have enough room to just fish this chain through. It will just wedge, and then this sprocket does not like to rotate on its own. It's connected directly to the motor, so if you try spinning it with your hands, it's very difficult. So I recommend, instead of turning on your bike and attempting to give it a little bit of throttle, which can be very dangerous, go ahead and set the new chain on top of the teeth, and then with a screwdriver or an Allen key, you can get in underneath here and just carefully rotate this sprocket a few teeth at a time until you have some of the chain down below, and then you can just grab it with your needle nose pliers and pull it the rest of the way. So you definitely don't want to power on the bike and give it some throttle. That can be very dangerous, and it could actually crack your gearbox. So now we have the chain routed past the gearbox. We're going to go ahead and install the back side of the master link. There's 1 O-ring on the back there, another O-ring on that side, go ahead and put your plate into place. It can help to use your pliers to kind of compress these O-rings a little bit. And then you do want to install this clip in this direction instead of this direction. This way, if it hits anything during its rotation, it'll actually tighten instead of loosen and come off. And then you want to put a little bit of pressure to squish those little rubber O-rings. Then you should be able to just reinstall this clip with a few tries. You do want to make sure it's fully closed at this end. It can be a little deceiving if you first look at it. It may not be fully closed. So just give it a little test like that. And finally, you can reinstall and tension the chain. I have a separate video on how to tension your chain. We'll put a link in the description to that too. And go ahead and tighten down your rear wheel and you're good to go. Now, these brand new chains do come coated in grease, and that's to prevent them from rusting while they're sitting on the shelf. You can run it just as is, but it will be really sticky and have a little bit of resistance. So you do want to clean these. A good thing to clean them with is WD-40, and then apply some chain wax or some chain lube. Make sure your rear axle is nice and tight, and you should be good to go.